welcome into Beyond the Forecast, episode 6, if you can believe it. We are recording on December 10th. We're going to be talking a little bit about a few of the things that have been happening across the area recently. Kevin Appleby joining me as well. Kevin, you look a little more rested today.
You know,
I like to throw that in every once in a while.
I covered for Matt, and I worked my own weekend morning for 5 days in a row, and today I got to sleep until like 4.
Ooh.
I know. It's amazing what that does to a man.
I bet. All right, so let's bring up the graphic because we're going to just kind of do a quick little overview of what we're talking about this week. We're talking a little bit about record cold. We had that record cold last Friday, I believe it was.
Yep.
Most areas below zero.
Frigid.
It was cold earlier this week. We've got more cold air to come next week. It's just the season that keeps on giving this year for whatever reason. Mother Nature's just like, you get some cold air and you get some cold air.
Everybody gets cold air.
Exactly. You've probably been hearing us talk a little bit about clipper systems a lot lately. We had one Tuesday night, very weak. We're having one right now, Wednesday, as of this recording. So some areas getting a lot of snow, others not so much. We'll talk a little bit about what a clipper system actually is and how they kind of work, and sometimes we get, shots of colder air behind them. So we'll talk about more intrusions of cold air, why we're seeing the colder air. And Kevin, this one you're going to talk about is the sunset times.
They're getting later. Yeah. What are we, 2 weeks from the solstice? A little bit less?
Just under 2 weeks. Yeah. Yep.
So the sunsets are going to get later before the sunrises start getting earlier. So we'll talk all about that coming up. It's very interesting.
It's some fun stuff. I'm more of a night person, so I like the light later in the day. I'm sure the folks here that work in the mornings don't mind the earlier sunsets because it's easier to fall asleep, right?
Sometimes the sun's down already for like 2.5 hours. And
Yeah.
It tricks me into thinking it's like 10 o'clock. In reality, it's 7.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice, but
I do not like it.
Not in the summer. It would be terrible in the summer. So when it's nice outside. Anyways.
Well, you brought up as far as the solstice. We're 3 days away from the first night of Hanukkah. We're 10 days away from the first day of winter. That's astronomical winter. We're already in meteorological winter.
Don't remind me.
Christmas Day is 2 weeks away as of this recording, and 2026.
It's messed up.
3 weeks away.
That's crazy.
Right? I thought the same thing. When I put this on here, I was like, how? How is it possible that we're 3 weeks? It's just unbelievable.
Before you know it's going to be 2030. It's a sad.
Let's not go there.
All right, let's go to the cold air
then,
shall we?
I'm going to give you the screen on this one, Kev.
Yeah, for sure, because I was standing out in the weather deck when this low temperature was achieved, so I know it very well. So this past Friday, Rob mentioned, we've had a couple of shots of cold air at this point. Monday didn't get as cold in terms of the actual air temperature, but we had a wind chill that was close to this number, and then that was followed up by this past Tuesday, which was also very similar to the previous Friday, which was a record-setting low temperature for Albany, -1. And the old record was 2 degrees above zero set back in 1989.
And this is significant, right?
Yeah, so it's one of our first ones in quite some time, record low. We'll go ahead and talk a little bit about some other locations first. Glens Falls tied a record of -6, which I thought that one was gonna be the hardest to fall, but it at least was tied.
It didn't necessarily fall.
I thought it,
I
was
agree.
like, they might get to like -3.
Glens Falls does get cold though.
Yeah,
there's like a Cap always explained it. It's like a bowl, where there's where the winds just kind of go calm and it's just the perfect conditions for temperatures to drop off more than you would expect.
Cooling.
Exactly.
So that's what we're looking for after all. How do you get a record low temperature? Well, you need the Canadian cold air to begin with, but then you also need a combination of clear skies, the lack of winds, and also in this particular case, snowpack on the ground.
Snowpack is
huge. You get all of those combination of factors, and it gets to -6 in Glens Falls. So the same record as 1989. Bennington, now the period of record in Bennington's much shorter than the rest of the locations. However, 2003, it dropped to 3. We were way colder than that on Friday, -5. And then Pittsfield, the old record was 0 back in 1926, so 99 years ago. And -3 was this year. So pretty incredible this past Friday.
It is.
So I mentioned it's been a while. The last record low temperature. Now there may have been a tie. I could not figure out what day, but this is building on something I spoke about over the summer, or actually last spring, and we were threatening some record cold, but didn't happen. The last record low temperature that I could find that was broken was minus 13 back on February 4th, 2023. That was before I moved here. Last record minimum high temperature, so afternoon temperature doesn't climb to a certain value. July 3rd, 2021, when the temperature got to 65. There's been 20 record high temperatures set since the last record low temperature, and 19 record high minimum temperatures set since the last minimum high temperature. I know that's a lot of words.
This is why I let you take this one, because I'm like, I'm going to get confused if
here
I
we
try
go.
to talk about this.
What is the record high minimum temp? Think of in the summer when we had all those days that didn't drop below like 73. That's usually a record. When it's that warm overnight, doesn't drop below 73. Chances are I broke a record for that day, although if it happens next summer, maybe not.
We might not, yeah.
Put in perspective, the last record low before this past Friday was about 1,035 days earlier, and there still hasn't been a last record minimum high temperature in over 1,600 days. So we're due for one of those as well.
We do get them sometimes, and especially in the wintertime. If you have fresh snow in particular, even on those sunny days, we just don't warm up. So it's interesting. So we're going to talk about Clipper systems. Then I've got a couple of cool names because I'm sure you always have heard of the Alberta Clippers.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the more well-known ones. Basically, they form in Alberta, Canada, which is what we're seeing right here. I'm actually going to take this up full because I think it'll be just easier to see what we're talking about here. We've got an area of low pressure that develops east of the mountains in western Canada. And north of that, typically it's snow. Now, sometimes, a lot of times, most of this storm system would be snow. Although south of it, it's able to pull in and work with some warmer air, so that's why we've got the rain and the mix kind of denoted there. Over the northeast, we'll usually have an area of high pressure, so cold air is in place. Now, if we advance this graphic, we start to see that Clipper system moving into the northern Great Lakes, and the cold air is usually still in place here. If we advance it one more time, we've got three different tracks. The one last night, so Tuesday night into Wednesday, tracked well to our north.
Track one.
Exactly. So we saw some snow showers. Track two, usually, we don't make out too bad with these, to be completely honest with you. A track directly at us or right up the St. Lawrence Seaway, usually not too bad. Typically like what we're seeing this time around. And then sometimes you'll see track three, which does kind of drop it much further to the south. We may get clipped by a northern periphery of this, but other than that, not a whole lot to talk about. Now, I don't want to advance just yet because we're going to talk about the cold air behind these when we come back from our break, but I do want to make mention about a couple of the names of these, Kevin. So I mentioned it last night to the directors because they asked me as far as is an Alberta Clipper a Clipper system. I said, yep. And I said, but there's also a Saskatchewan Screamer, and they lost it in the back. They loved that one.
I could see Jack and Jeff in particular getting on that.
Yeah, the mic in my ear was opened up, and I just heard them just howling back there. They'd never heard of it. What is a Saskatchewan Screamer? Well, it's just like an Alberta Clipper, but it originates in Saskatchewan. So
Screamer.
You don't hear those very well. They're quick hitting. That's where they get the. And then there's Manitoba Maulers. Those originate in Manitoba. And the less
Winnipeg.
Frequent. The what?
Winnipeg.
There you go. We should come up with one of our own, right? The less frequent one is the Ontario Scario, which. These are real things. You can look it up. I promise you.
If it's like a weak one from Manitoba, it's the Winnipeg Whimper.
That's a good one. I'm going to write that down. And the next time we have one, I'll be like, all right.
I tell you what, Rob, we'll brainstorm a couple more during the break.
Kevin named this the Winnipeg, the what?
The Whimper.
There we go.
Yeah,
that'll be a fun one. Well,
coding to an inch, that's all? You're a whimper.
We'll go on there with that. People will be like, what are you talking about?
What's wrong with you?
Right? All right, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the polar vortex, moisture. You've heard that before. Cold air intrusions behind clipper systems. And we're also still talking about those sunset times staying lighter later. Don't go away. And welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. We're going to talk a little bit about cold air, Kevin.
Well, that makes sense, given what we've been dealing with.
I think we've seen a lot of it, and I know a lot of folks have been asking, it's too soon for this, which in some respect, you're not wrong.
You're breaking records.
We're breaking records. This is more typical of like a late January or February pattern, not early December.
Yeah.
And if it was coming in January, it might have been much, much colder. Because you got so much more time for that cold air up towards the North Pole, basically, to get that much colder.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about the polar vortex, though. You've probably heard us talk about this before. We don't really dwell on this a whole lot because the polar vortex is something way above our heads. It's always existed. But sometimes when there's disturbances to that, a piece of it or a lobe of it may actually get broken off and head south. So this is what we're looking at here. It's about 5 to 9 miles above the surface, usually stable. A very stable vortex will kind of keep it contained up towards the North Pole. But then if a disturbance happens, what happens to it? We can advance this, Kevin. This is usually coming in behind some sort of a storm system normally. But the vortex will weaken. Sometimes it stretches or completely breaks off from the main area of the polar vortex. That's when you know you're in for some real cold air. And it's forced south at the surface, while warm air is actually forced to replace that cold air up at the North Pole. So a lot of times we'll show maps, and it'll be something where we've got the real cold air is in the mid-latitudes where we live. And then the anomaly up at the North Pole is they're like 30, 40 degrees warmer than what they should be. That's why. Because we are 30 to 40 degrees colder than what we should be. So weather is always trying to be in a constant balance with itself. So you'll always see these big swings of where's the cold air this time, where's the warm air this time, and kind of vice versa. Especially more so in the wintertime, I feel like.
Yeah, you can get some crazy temperature swings this time of year and like late fall, early spring.
Yes.
In the summer, it's just not as at least
not as prevalent.
Definitely not here. It could be other parts of the world where that's
maybe
true.
up in central Canada.
Yeah,
where there still is sometimes cold air trying to sweep in.
Yeah, you might drop 10 degrees the next day behind a summer cold front. Winter, it's just like this is.
Well, look at what happened. What day was that? Was that earlier this week?
Was that Sunday night and a Monday?
Nope. No, because we were here. We were on air Thursday with the snow squalls last week.
Oh, before the Arctic air?
Yes, because
Makes
that
sense.
temperature was like rapidly dropping. Once those squalls moved through, temperatures were rapidly dropping behind it.
That brought in the tundra.
Oh, yeah, you're not kidding. Can you just advance the graphic? I just want to see what the graphic is behind this one.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this is...
it's going. You know what? We're going to redo it, Rob. You can keep it on us for a second.
Yes, I'm going to.
Yeah. If I knew how to hit back, that'd be great. Apologize.
We're testing out some new technology, so I am not able to advance the graphics with this technology that we're using, so we're just kind of seeing. All right, so
here's what we're gonna do, Rob. We're gonna pull up the polar vortex still.
There's the polar vortex.
And then I'm gonna press go.
Because this is just gonna go. I forgot I didn't put any pause points in here. So we get a shot of cold air Sunday into Monday, maybe a little bit of a brief warm up. Actually, we're starting to see that now on some of the guidance. Middle to end of next week.
And especially the ensembles.
We could be pushing 40.
40? You mean average? By then
it's a little bit above. It's like a degree or two above.
We just haven't we haven't even been close this month.
It's funny. Earlier this week, I asked Jordan and Alyssa, I go, what is the average high for this time of year? Because I go, we've been forecasting 20s and low 30s. And they're like, oh, it's like 41. I was like, oh, okay. So we are still well below average.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the day where we didn't get above 21 in the afternoon, I'm like, well, the average high is 41, so we're 20 degrees below.
And this,
Ouch.
I mean, this shows another surge of cold air by next weekend again. This pattern is unrelenting. We're seeing little deviance or deviations. Deviations is what I was trying to say.
There you go.
In between the cold pockets of air, but it's not that warm. Even the warm-ups are not that warm. I will say
that 40 is gonna feel like summer.
I will say, leading up to Christmas, I am a little concerned based on some of the ensemble outputs I've been seeing. We may warm up, and I was talking to Christina about it earlier this week, and she's like, "Not before Christmas, like not we don't want to lose the snow." But
yeah, I don't remember who I was talking to, but they were like, "Are we gonna get a white Christmas?" And I was like, "Listen, you'd think with how cold it's been, how cold it's gonna be for the next week plus."
But we don't have a ton of snow on the ground locally. That's the problem.
Yeah,
a little bit of a warm up, add some rain into the mix.
All it takes is 1 or 2 days where it's 50 and
exactly.
a little rain.
That snow is gone. Just a quick shout out real quick before we go to break. Our banner. Did you notice the difference?
Oh, I noticed the difference. I think it looks great up there. Top left corner of the graphics.
It looks fantastic. So, so happy to have that on there now. They don't look as bare as what they were.
Yeah,
so I'm
a couple
very
weeks
happy
there
about
where it was just the title and subtitle.
Yeah.
This is way cooler.
This is something that we've been working on for a little bit, so it looks good. Hopefully you at home enjoy it as well. You probably didn't even notice. It's just something that while we're putting the show together, it's something we noticed. So we're grateful for that. So don't go away. We're talking about the daylight, staying out later in the day. I don't think you want to miss this one. At least I don't want to miss this one. I didn't even look at the numbers. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. Kevin, you've got the good job this week.
Yeah, well, I always have a good job. But
well,
that's okay.
yes, but you're talking about things that I think people appreciate maybe a little bit more than snow and cold air.
Yeah, I agree.
Just a little bit. I think
that.
most people probably.
So maybe once a month or so, I'll pop on to your TV screens and I'll discuss sunsets, sunrises, etc. And for the past 5 or 6 months, I've been talking about how it's slowly, or in some cases this fall, been rapidly decreasing. And I think the last time I talked about it on air, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was trying to provide some optimism and that things were really starting to slow down. Well,
we're more optimistic now.
Yeah. So
I mean, this happens every year, so we know.
We know it's coming.
We know the cycle, but
once it starts happening, it's really cool. So starting December 3rd, over a week ago, right? Our sunset became 4:21 here in Albany, and that means like surrounding areas could be like a minute or two before or after. If you're east, it's a little earlier. If you're west of us, it could be more like 4:23, for example. But for Albany, it's been 4:21 that sunset since the 3rd, and we've got another couple of days. I think it's the 14th might be the last day, and then it starts to increase. Now it's initially slow. In 2 weeks, it'll be 4:26. Hey, that's 5 extra minutes. 4 weeks. So, towards the middle of January, you get through the first full week, 4:39. And then that's noticeable. That's a noticeable change in just 4 weeks.
Look at the end of January. I've got my eyes on that one.
So the difference between 2 and 4 weeks, 13 minutes. So roughly a minute a day. Between 4 weeks and 6 weeks, 16 minutes. So a little bit more than a minute a day added on. That rate will keep increasing through about the spring equinox.
Yeah, and then it kind of levels out a little bit, right? Yeah.
So,
I mean, it keeps going up, but it slows down.
What is 6 weeks? It's still the end of January.
Yep.
So we are almost to 5 o'clock by the end of January. It's just, listen, it's going to be cold a lot. It's going to snow a lot. At least
I'm going to hold you to that.
You'll notice this.
I'm going to hold you to that.
It's going to snow.
Then it's going to be cold and it's going to snow a lot. Watch January be
a torch,
and we end up with rain every day.
Don't say that.
And then in the middle of January, I'll be like, so Kevin, remember when you said?
Yeah, clip it. We'll clip it and it'll make it black and white.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just remember this when it's cold and snowy. Oh, well, record low snow in January. You're welcome.
Let's not go down that route. There's a lot of snow lovers out there.
One more thing about, so today, when you're seeing this for the first time on the Thursday, it would be, I believe, the 11th of December. Yep. Today's daylight, 9 hours, 18 minutes, and 21 seconds. The minimum on the solstice is 9 hours and 2 minutes. So we're going to lose another 16 minutes between the sunrise and the sunset.
Over the next 11 days.
The sunrise is where we're really going to keep losing for a little while longer.
You forget about that too, I think.
It's displaced.
I think a lot of people forget about that.
I was a little, like, I knew they didn't line up, but this year looking into it, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize it was that late.
Yeah.
So the sunrises, of course, will stay late. This morning, the sunrise, 7:15.
Let me tell you, I got up this morning at 7. I'm like, it's kind of like...
Yeah.
Not dark, but...
I was out in the storm tracker. It's like, don't use the windshield camera because you can't really see it.
Yeah.
You have to use the rooftop camera. I'm like, it's 6:45. It's still so dark. In 2 weeks, it's still getting later at 7:23. Now, I know in 4 weeks, it's a little bit later than that. I just want to quickly deviate from left to right and go to that bottom blurb. 7:25 is as late as the sunrise gets. And that's going to occur from December 31st through January 6th. So you got that 1 week window with 7:25 a.m. sunrises. Listen, as late as that sounds, right before the time change in early November, it's later than that.
Yep.
And that's why we do the time change. Our first episode, I spoke a little bit about that.
A little.
Yeah. So starting on the 7th, and then eventually in 4 weeks, 7:24, which would be a minute earlier than the latest. And in 6 weeks, it's still later than today at 7:18. So the sunrises take a little bit longer to respond. Of course, the caveat is you're almost in the middle of July when they start to get later again.
Yeah.
So that's also displaced in that direction. But to put it in perspective, the next sunrise as early as this morning's is January 25th. So we've got a month and a half until we get that.
Happen to notice what is our earliest sunset ever? Like during the year?
Oh, it's 4:21.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was like that for 11.
No. Did I say sunset? I meant sunrise.
I believe it's 5. Ooh, it's either 5. It's like 5:10 or 5:20.
Okay. That does make sense. I just couldn't remember
5:12.
how early. Okay.
I don't know why that number.
Sorry to put you on
out
the spot.
me.
I was just
It's
curious.
between 5:10 and 5:20. But the thing is I remember doing a stat where it's like it's before 5:30 for like over.
I
a
do
month.
remember. I do remember you having
Plateaus
that.
in that sweet spot. Which, if we stayed on standard time, it'd be like 4:15 in the morning.
That's way too early.
Insane.
I mean, I think parts of Maine have a 4 something a.m.
Well, good.
sunrise, don't they? Close to 4 a.m. maybe.
It would be 3 if we were on standard time. 3 a.m.
That's horrendous.
That's why we do the time change, folks.
At least we have sunlight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what, Alaska?
Yeah. No, I remember I saw a Facebook comment earlier
Yeah.
this week because I was like 3 above in Albany, like I'm really cold, and I was like, don't let me in that mocking tone say that I wasn't actually cold. I was. I look at Old Forge, they're minus 16. I'm like, okay, that's a little
Yeah,
colder.
you know that you have it a little, but also I think when it gets down below 5, cold is cold.
Well,
I mean, it's going to feel different.
What I was going to say to that, and why I brought it up with Alaska, is that somebody commented, I think their son lived in Fairbanks,
Okay.
and they showed me I think it was like a Weather Channel graphic of like the next 10 days of high temperatures, and it was just.
I think I saw this comment.
I saw the seesaw from like minus 10 to minus 30. And I was
Those are like for highs or something, right?
Yeah, high temperatures. We're talking low temperatures here. I waved the white flag. I said, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
I couldn't do that.
I like upstate New York.
Yeah.
So.
I do too.
That's my 2 cents.
I will complain about everything, the cold air or the heat, but I'd rather be here than anywhere else. That's just my opinion.
I love it and I hate it.
Yeah. It's a love-hate relationship. I think a lot of people can say the same.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, don't go away. We're going to go to break real quick. We'll wrap things up on the other side. welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. My trusty colleague over there, Kevin Appleby, is working to get a graphic for us so we can end this show. I think that's it, Kevin. Oh,
Maybe.
I think that's it. Okay. Yes, it is. Perfect. All right, that's what we were looking for. Kevin to the rescue. Again, we ask you every week, if you have a weather question, something cool to share, if it's pictures, we've had opportunity for Northern Lights the last couple of weeks. If you've got any pictures of those, any snow pictures, we've had plenty of that this week.
I want to see a snowman.
Or a snowman. I drove by one today.
Or snowman.
Or even, hey, if it gets really cold and you want to show us your weather station on what, how low the temperature got, send that picture in. We'll show it on here.
We'll shiver with you.
Yes.
Although it's a little warm in here.
It is warm in here, but maybe it'll make us feel a little cooler when we're showing it on here. You might be featured in a future episode. You can send us an email. Both of our email addresses are there on your screen. You can find us on social media. Facebook, we're most active on, so it's easier if you want to send us a message on Facebook. We're always looking for those. We're not ashamed of name dropping. We will 100% do that.
Unless you don't want it.
Yeah, unless you tell us not to, we won't. But if you want us to say your name, we will 100% say your name. Other than that, hopefully you guys stay cool. I was going to try to come up with some witty question for you, Kevin, and I just can't think of it.
Did you say
warm.
to stay cool?
Stay warm.
Wow,
Sorry.
It's not that hard to
Listen,
stay cool right now.
It's a long day for me today.
Yeah.
I came in early today. What can I say?
And I got in at 5.
Saskatchewan Screamers.
Winnipeg Whimpers.
I'm just gonna randomly say that from now on. Saskatchewan Screamers. Just totally out of context.
Yeah, if you watch this episode, you watch more down the road, and there's going to be some others that missed this episode. You'll understand the reference.
Yes, yeah, and the ones that are tuning in on episode 8, you're going to hear me say Saskatchewan Screamer. They're going to be like, "What are you talking about?"
What's a Winnipeg Whimper?
Yeah. Well, we're getting close to the holidays. We're getting close to the end of the year. So
Yes.
In future episodes, we'll be talking about weather history for Christmas, for New Year's.
Yeah. Plenty of that.
Plenty of that. We'll be recapping December before we know it. I was actually looking, before we say goodbye, we've got a quick minute here. I was actually looking at the climate info for Albany. We're running almost 10 degrees colder than average this month.
10?
Almost 10.
1-0?
Through the first 9 days of the month, we're close to 10 degrees below average. Obviously, there's a lot of time left, but that is significant. That is significant.
Yeah.
And that puts us at a very cold starting point with a lot of ground to make up, basically. So
I would even say, winter, meteorological winter as a whole, there's still plenty of time, but like December, unless it wants to hit 70 on Christmas.
Yeah, which
okay,
don't manifest it. Don't manifest it. People are gonna get mad at Kevin. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't make the sad face. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Stay warm and don't shovel too much. Have a great week.